Okay, hello. I see people. I forgot to get a drink. I'm gonna go grab my water bottle just while everyone is rolling in here. Okay. Yeah, I talk way too much not to have some water. It would be bad. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right? Yep, Wednesday. I lose track of time. Okay. So today we are going to work with the Mini Postage Collage die and stencil. This is what we gave away on the long weekend as part of our promotion, and we sold out really early. I ordered extra even, but it is the cutest. It's the cutest ever. So it's a little mini postage collage die and a little mini stencil. And when you are finished with it, you end up with a little mini postage collage that you can do lots of fun things with. So I used it in two different ways. I used it as a whole piece, and then I also used it separately on all of the little envelopes here. So I'm just going to walk you through how I made the cards and what products I used, and hopefully you get some inspiration for your little mini postage collage that you received. Now, we have put in another order with Waffle flour, and they were still in stock, so we were able to order some. So those will eventually come to the store, and you will be able to purchase them as well. You can keep your eyes peeled for that if you did miss out on the promotion. But yeah, I think everybody needs a little mini postage collage die and stencil for sure. Okay, so I made two different cards. Like I said, one is an A2 size card and the other one is a mini slim card. These are my two favorite sizes of cards to make. And I'm going to kind of walk you through how I did that. So we will start with the little mini postage collage, and we will get them both stenciled up and stamped because they're basically the same, almost the same for both designs. So I did pre-cut the little mini postage collage dies ahead of time, and I am going to stencil them live with you. So they are small. Let me measure here. Let me see. So they measure about maybe 1.5 by 1 3/4 or so. So they're teeny tiny. And then you do have the same options with the small one that you do with the large one, in that you can cut them apart and use the little individual things. Now, if you're a Waffle flour fan, I don't know how you can't be, because right now they are just knocking it out of the park with all of this postage collage stuff. But if you have not seen, you can visit their social media channels, their YouTube channel, even their website, and just click on different products and see. But they're using these little mini postage collage pieces, these little cut up pieces with all kinds of different things. So the inspiration will go far beyond what I have done here. But it is a lot of fun to play with. So I'm just going to take the little mini postage collages and I'm going to stick them on my sticky mat. And there is a teeny weeny little stencil that's in here too. I thought of everything. And you just line it up the same way that you do, oops, here we go, with the large ones. And that will mask off each of the sections. And I always tell people, just take your time and make sure you line it up really well. Okay, so there's the little stencil over top of that. And then I'm just going to color in the different sections. So the question is going to be, okay, so I used purple on the top of this one here. So that is going to be the Gina K Wild Lilac. Yes, I pulled out Gina K inks this time. And we are just going to go in with our little blending brush here And we're just going to color. I'm going to be brave and not mask. We'll see how well that works out, but they're just tiny little sections. And we're doing some very light blending, so nothing crazy. Okay, so there's the purple. I'm going to leave my brushes out because I'll need them again. And then we are going to move over to this one here, and that's the teal. And I used Turquoise Sea. And I did discover that this pad needs to be re-inked. So my re-inkers, I store them downstairs in a cupboard. So I have to go down and get it because my ink pad is very dry, which is kind of funny because I don't really use it very often. So some pads are just like that. Some colors are just like that. But there is enough ink on there for me to do this. It's not good to let your pads dry out that much. So I'm doing a bad thing, but we will get that inked up. Okay, so there's the Turquoise Sea. And then we have, green, and that is Lucky Clover. So Judy said one of her favorite Gina K inks. Which one is that? The lilac one, the wild lilac. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with any of the colors because we sell a lot of them, like a lot. Okay, and so we're going to do this one over here, green. Now, if you were smart, you would be masking off your little sections here, but that's okay. I think I'm going to just wing it. It'll be good. Okay, and then we're going to do the yellow. So I used Wild Dandelion. Yes, Wild Lilac. I like all their colors, really. Now this yellow, like, look how much I'm taking off my brush here, and I just did a little wee bit. So the yellow is very juicy, and it really does have to do with the colors, because I find yellow in a lot of different brands are like that, and I don't understand it, but it clearly has to do with the manufacturing process. So there is yellow, and then in the bottom, the large one is pink, and that is Passionate Pink. Right here. So I'm just going to lightly do that. And then this last one over here is, you can't see it in here, but it is orange. And I chose Tangerine Twist for that one. So really fast to ink them up. Okay, so before I put away my brushes, I'm going to transfer this stencil over, and we're going to do the same process over here, although the colors are slightly different. And it really doesn't matter what your colors are, because you can arrange them any way you want on your envelopes. So you know what, I might just do it the same way, just for ease, because then I have everything. Okay, let's do the orange, because we already have orange out. Because that way it keeps things simple. Okay, so I'm going to probably be able to re-ink the second one without using the ink on the ink pads. Okay, who's messaging me? Who? Oh, that's somebody else. Okay, so that is pink, and then we'll do our yellow. We've got lots of yellow ink here. Hello, everyone. Got a few people rolling in. I didn't figure I was going to get as many people live at this time of day, but I'm trying to squeeze this live in before I go into the store a little later. So I wanted to make sure I got this done. I need a little more green. So I decided to just squeeze it in. And lots of people, you can all watch it on replay anyway, so no big deal. And we will transfer this video over to our YouTube channel. And I have found someone who is going to mentor me with this YouTube thing. So hopefully very soon we will be able to go live from our YouTube channel and also broadcast on Facebook at the same time. And then I won't have to do the uploading all the time, and the video quality will be so much better. So we're working on that, but I've come across a few challenges and I'm just not quite sure, but I found someone who's going to help me. They already use the system. Believe it or not, it's a fellow race car driver. So I'm excited because I will be very comfortable working with that person. Okay, so we've got 2 of them done. So I'm going to hold that up just so you can kind of see what they look like. Aren't they adorable? They're just so cute. And again, you can stencil them up in any color that you want, any theme that you want. You can. So this is where it gets kind of fun. I wanted to put little stamps in all of the little sections. You can use them as true postage stamps in that you just put like the little amounts, like this, you know, 4 cents, and do the postage mark. But I chose like different images to go in them as well. And really, you can dive into your stash and sort of see what you have that's teeny tiny that will fit into all the little sections. And I had fun doing that. So much fun that I couldn't figure out some of the ones that I used, but I improvised. I didn't write them down, and then of course I cleaned up, and then I'm like, gosh, what stamp set did I use? But I've come across a lot of different stamps in my stash that I never really looked at that way, but now that I have this little collage, it's kind of fun to do. And Karen says these colors look so pretty together. So this is just a rainbow. Okay, I love rainbow. That's my favorite color palette to work with. So a lot of the things that I make are rainbow, but I mean, feel free to switch it up. But that is just a Gina K version of your rainbow blend. So it works quite nicely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the little stamped images, and I'm just going to wing it. I'm not doing anything with my MISTI. I'm going to pull out a little stamping block, and this little stamping block I have here is from Gina K, and they're called comfort blocks, and they're so nice to hold on to. It's nice and tiny, so it gives me lots of control. And that way I can be sure to stamp well enough. And I'm also making sure that I use a good ink pad that is nice and juicy, because I don't have the opportunity to re-stamp if I do it this way. So I want to make sure I get it right the first time. Okay, so we're going to use a variety of different stamps here for my collage. So on this one, the one that I'm going to leave full size, I used a heart in the top corner. Now, I have no idea what heart that was, but I did go through my stash of stamps and I pulled out something that will work. Where did I put it? Oh, here. So I found this one. It's called You're Just My Type. And there's a little heart there. So I'm just going to pull that out. And that's the heart I'm going to use. And I mean, there are lots of different stamp sets that come with hearts. So not to worry. I'm sure you have something. And it doesn't have to be a heart. You can be anything. Okay, so I'm just going to take that and I'm going to stamp it right in that top block. So I'm going to pull it down a little bit here so I can see. And like I said, you got one shot. Oh, I didn't make my chamois wet. Okay, hold please. I'll be right back. Just takes a second. Sorry about that. So I'm actually using the Gina K Tidy Towel this time. I also have the Lawn Fawn Chamois. I like them both. But this is just how I'm going to clean my stamp off. So all I did was put water on that chamois, and that's all I use to clean my stamps. Unless they're really, really dirty, and then I can pull out a stamp cleaner. But generally, I just use water. So there's my heart done. And then next up, we have that little envelope, and that is actually part of the Postage Collage stamp sets. So this one is, oh, I didn't pull it out, really? Well, hold on, maybe I did. Yes, I did. It's right here. So this is the original Postage Collage stamp, and you can see that little envelope right there. So that is where I'm going to pull my little envelope from. And it is such a cute little stamp. And I'm actually going to turn this and stamp it sideways onto the yellow. There we go. Yes, the grid is very handy because you can definitely line up your stamps for sure. It also helps you know if you are stamping straight. In the purple section up here, I did the 30-cent stamp. Now see, if you've been following along for any length of time, you know that I lost my 30-cent stamp in my original set, and I wasn't sure if I was going to just live with it or replace it, and I ended up replacing it, and good thing, because see, I needed to use my 30-cent stamp. Oh, and this isn't even the right one. Okay, there's another one on here. So I take it back. I'm not going to use the one I'm missing. Now who's messaging me? Oh, that's my husband. He is picking up our shipment, and he's just letting me know that he is leaving to head home. Okay. So we're going to put the 30 cents. I'm going to go this way just for interest. Okay, so that gives us those three. And I mean, you can look and you might have like if you want to do something birthday themed, you might have little birthday stamps, or you might have, I don't know, all kinds of things. So you can definitely theme this as well. Now this one's a little harder to see because I've got flowers hanging over top of this here. But this one here, I actually used a postmark. And there is a postmark with this set here, but it's quite large. So I didn't have all of the postage collage stamps, but I thought I'm going to look at the ones I don't have. And the fall one actually has a smaller version of that postmark. So that's the one that I used on there. So I'm going to pull that out. And I don't like it when the stamping goes outside of the masked off line. So I'm going to put my little stencil back over top. I say that, but what did I do with my stencil? Oh, it's right here. So I'm going to put the little stencil over top of that just to mask that off again. And then I'm going to stamp the little postage mark because I don't want it to go on the white. It's optional. You can do it either way. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And I'm not even going to ink up the whole stamp. I'm only going to ink up the edge. So I don't know if you can see that through the block, but I only put ink on the edge. And I'm just going to go in a little bit. So that is what that's going to look like. And then I will then stamp, what did I say it was? 9 cents. Is that from this one? Nope. It's from this one. Yes. So we're going to go 9 cents on the top there. And we'll just stamp that right in there. And then I can remove that mask again. And see how that looks? Pretty fun. And then I'm going to use, from the original set again, the little stamp that says Express Mail. And I sized this up and it fits perfectly in that little pink section at the bottom. So we're going to ink that up, and I'm just going to stamp that right in there. So that fits nicely. And because my orange section is covered, I have no idea what I did in this teeny weeny one. So I'm going to wing it. I mean, it's not very big. I have a small little heart in the teeny weeny one for this one. I'm not sure if I have a heart that small. Let's just see. I might just do another postage one here. I'm just looking at what I have. Yes. Oh yes, Shelby's saying our VersaFine Claire is finally back in stock. Oh my gosh, it was out of stock for a while, but we do have it back again. Yay. Okay. So I'm going to go with 15 cents. That's actually almost too big. Well, how about 4 cents? Because I have a tiny one that says 4 cents. So let's go with that. Okay, this one's itty bitty, and I think that will work. And it gives it that real postage thing. And again, you know what? For what I'm doing here, you don't have to put anything in it. Okay, and we can go either way. So I am going to go this way. There we go. So that one's all stamped up. Pretty cute. And I do suggest with these tiny stamps that you definitely put them right back as soon as you're done, because they'll just disappear on your desk. So that's that one. Now this is the one we're actually going to cut apart when we're done. And I'm going to try to mimic what I did over here. So size-wise, but maybe not color-wise. Although I think I can make that work. So I'm going to do the top purple one with the 4 cents and the mini postage wave. And again, I'm only going to ink up a little bit of that. And we're going to use 4 cents again. Some of them are even hard to see which direction they go, but once you put ink on them, then you can read it. So 4 cents. And when you are using little stamps like this and you're using a stamping block, or even if you do decide to use a MISTI, one thing to remember is that you don't have to push too hard on the stamps when you're stamping, because if you push too hard, I know you want to get a good stamp and that's why you want to kind of push down on it. But what happens is you smush your stamp and then your image is kind of blurry. So you want to be careful not to push too hard. Now on this blue one, I have a butterfly. So I got this stamp set. We don't carry it. I got this as part of a kit for an event I was participating in for retailers, and I didn't bring the stamp set in, but that butterfly fit perfectly in my window. So I'm going to use it. But I'm sure you have little sets that you can pull from. So there's that butterfly. And then this one is going to be With Love. And that is from, let me just put this one back. Where's my stamp set? Oh, here we go. This one is from the Love Postage Collage. I've got them all turned around here, right here. So this is the Love one, and it's called With Love. So this is one I did not have in my stash. I didn't think I would use it very often, but guess what? I thought I need it because I see things and I'm like, oh. So rather than using the envelope, which one did I do? I'm going to use the envelope again. Maybe I'll do With Love on this one. It's going to be the green one. Yep. Okay, so there's With Love. And then we need that little envelope again. So that's on the original postage collage. And we will do the yellow one. And then I'm also going to do the express mail. And then I'm going to see if I have a little heart. But it is fun to go through your stash and see what you have. You'll look at your stamps in a different way. Or you'll realize, hey, I don't have anything small. I need to get some stamps with smaller sets. Okay, and let's just see. I'm going to have a quick look and see if I've got any kind of little heart. Well, I'm going to go back to that heart that I did before. I think it should work. Or, haha, look at this. So this one is that gesture type. And look, it has a little row of 3 hearts and they're smaller. So I'm going to attempt to just get ink on one of those hearts. I think I did it. And I'm going to go this way. Perfect. So that is one that has 3 hearts, and I just put ink on one of them and was able to stamp it in there, which is the perfect size. So that is that. Okay, so they are all stamped and they are all stenciled. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut one of them apart. Just put all of these aside now. We'll clean that up later. Okay, so the one with the butterfly is the one I'm going to cut apart. And I'm simply going to use my scissors for this. It's just easy. They're just small, so no big deal. And actually, I'm going to use my big set because that way I can cut straight through. So easy peasy. So you'll notice that I cut this off. So you can use, here, I'll lift it up with my tweezers. You can use this as a piece on its own, leave the 2 pieces connected, which is, whoops, kind of cute. Okay, so that is definitely usable on its own. And then this is a little 4 square one, which you can also leave the way that it is and use it that way too. But we're going to cut them all apart. So there's lots of different combinations that you can play with. But I want all the little bits. Sometimes I use my trimmer when I cut these apart, and sometimes I use my scissors. It depends on what mood I'm in and how much trimming there is. These are so tiny that it's pretty easy to do them with your scissors. Okay, so there's all our little pieces. And then we have our piece that is a full set. So that is how the little mini postage collage works. So you can use it either way, and it's awesome. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I created this background here. So in a live, I think it was last week, I showed cards that were made by Christina, and she played with this set. And I thought, well, I really liked it. I saw a card very similar to this on the Waffle Flower website, and I thought, oh, I'm going to try that. I think I switched my colors up a little bit, but I don't remember. So I've gone ahead and I have cut out the postage collage. So I'm going to stick that on my sticky mat. And I did not grab my stencil. No, I don't need my stencil. And I'm going to use the postage collage envelope die and the postage collage envelope stencil. So we'll start with the stenciling first. And the stenciling is 2 layers. So one layer does the envelopes and one layer does the envelope flaps. Now in my case, those are both the same color. But if you wanted to do an envelope like that is lighter for the envelope part and darker on the flap, or vice versa, if you want to do like a patterned envelope where you do the envelope solid and then, you know, do the flap a different tone and then put another stencil over top of it, you can do all kinds of different things to personalize them. So they do give you options for 2 stencils. So this is what's going to mask off the area where the envelopes are going to go. I'm just taking a moment here to really make sure that I have this lined up. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and do our ink blending. So we're going to use the same colors of ink that we used with the little mini postage collage. So we're going to start with the Passionate Pink. And I'm going to grab a bigger set of blending brushes just because the areas are larger and it'll go faster if I have a larger brush. So we're going to start with Passionate Pink. And again, we are going to, I'm going to go in with a light hand. I can always add more color. Oh, I'm not brave enough to not mask this. I am just not that brave. Okay, here's my Post-it notes. Because you know I'm going to get ink all over areas I don't want to. Pardon me. So I just use Post-it notes when I'm doing something like this. They're easy to move around and they're just sticky enough that they stay in place for you. So I'm going to go in with my Passionate Pink now, and I'm just going to blend the base of my envelope. And you can just add as much or as little shading as you want. And then we're going to switch to our next envelope, which is going to be the orange, which, oops, is Tangerine Twist. Okay, I need one more Post-it note. And it's so fun to watch this kind of come to life. The reveal is very fun. Okay, so now we've got the orange done. And now we're going to move on to the turquoise C. Now this is the one that I do not have enough ink on my pad, but we'll make it work. I'll have to be extra aggressive. Okay, so all right, I really inked up that brush. I can see there's ink in the pad. I don't know, it's just not coming out very well, but okay, so now we've got our turquoise done. And we will move on to the bottom one here, which will be our yellow. Which is Wild Dandelion. Now I know, oh, I'm using a different brush now. I was going to say, I know I have lots of ink in my brush, but that was in a different brush. Okay, here we go. There's our Wild Dandelion. Looks so good. And then we're going to move on to our green, which is Lucky Clover. Can you share the name of the brushes you are using, please? Yes, these are Altenew. I'm using, all my brushes are Altenew that I'm using today. They come in different sizes. So this is the short little stubby one. I believe these are called the small ones. I always forget though. If Shelby is watching, maybe she can help us out. I don't know what it is about Altenew brushes. The material that they use for their bristles is absolutely amazing. I like the length of them. So you get the perfect amount of travel when you're blending. And so I'm using, these are also Altenew brushes. So they're a little bit shorter and a smaller head. So that allows you to be a little bit more targeted. They're small. Okay, this is small. This is mini. And then I'm going to bring in one more size here, which is micro, I believe. So they are amazing. Just love them. I use them as often as I can. Not all brushes are good for all applications. So I do move around a little bit with brushes. But I do really, really like the Altenew ones. So if I can make it work for and use Altenew brushes, I almost always do. Okay, and then we've got the Lucky Clover. The case is sold out right now. This one here, it's been sold out for a while. They're coming out with a new case in June for this size of brush. So I'm hoping when that one is available, then they will restock this one. We are on a watch list for this. So we're hoping that it comes back. It's been out of stock for a while. I don't know what the holdup is with it, whether they're redesigning it or what, I don't know. But we're hoping in June when they release the other one, that this one will pop back into inventory as well. So if you want, you can email us and ask us to put you on the list for the Altenew storage, brush storage, because that way we'll email you when it does become available and you don't have to keep watching all the time. But it is great. It's very handy. And then the last color is the purple. Oops. And that is Wild Lilac, Judy's favorite. And we're going to just do the little envelope in that one. Okay, so that's the last one. And guys, I mean, well, you saw the finished card. This looks so good when it's done. But there's kind of 2 steps to it. Well, there's actually 3 steps to it, if you include the second stencil. Okay, so that is layer 1. But before I remove the stencil, you'll notice that the little heart is part of this layer, and I want that heart to be darker. So see how on my card the hearts are darker? So I'm going to go in with this small blending brush, and I'm going to really hit that area and darken it up. So the first one I'm going to do is the pink. Now I do have quite a bit of ink still on my glass mat, so I'm going to see if that's enough, because we really just need a little hit. And because these are smaller brushes and they really target the ink more intensely, so it allows you to really push, and that is going to be perfect. So I didn't even have to go back to my pad. And then the orange, again, I have some up here. So I'm just going to pick that up with the small brush, and I'm going to go in there and really hit that. And I have even a smaller one. This one here is a smaller head. These come in the same pack. So either one of those would work great for really intensifying the color of this small area. So that's the orange. And then we're going to go in with a teal. I've got a small one with teal. But my teal pad is so dry, I don't have extra ink on my mat. Where's my ink pad? Oh, here we go. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit of ink. Okay, so that's that. And then yellow. We've got lots of yellow. Okay, and then green. And it's crazy how much ink you can actually pick up off of your mat. And then the last one is purple. Okay, so now we are done with that layer. And I can remove this stencil. Oops. These sticky mats are pretty sticky. Okay, so that's phase 1. And now we're going to go into phase 2 with the second stencil, and we're going to just take our time and line this up. Now you can kind of use the etching on the stencil as well as what you've already inked to help you line up your next layer. Okay, I think that looks really good. And now we're just going to kind of come back in with these brushes and finish off those envelopes. So again, you want to blend lightly because you don't want to make that heart disappear. You want to still be able to see that heart. So go in with a light hand and just lightly blend over top. And I'm going to try to be all rogue here and not use any masking. Okay, so I'm just going to lift this a little bit because I want to see what my ink blend looks like compared to my other one. So that looks pretty good. I'm definitely going a little lighter on this one than I did on my original one, but that's okay. I think it still looks good. Okay, so that's the purple done. And I'm going to put my brushes away as I do this. Let's do green next. Okay, there's our green. And then yellow. I have quite a bit of yellow on here. Not enough. Okay, there's our yellow. And then we have the teal. And I know I'm going to have to go back to my pad for this one. I do love a good rainbow, and this is turning out very nice. Okay, and then the orange. And then finally the pink. So I'm trying to tidy as I go, and I don't normally put my ink brushes back until I rub them on a microfiber cloth. So I'm gonna have to go back afterwards and do that. Okay, there we go. So normally what I would do is just take my microfiber cloth and just kind of rub my brush just to take off any excess ink that is sitting on the brush before I put it away. And that way your brushes don't sit with all that ink on them, and they don't get all crusty. Okay, so there we go. So this is the finished panel once you do the stenciling. Now, I'm going to hold this up next to this. I mean, my ink blending is a little lighter, but you'll notice that on here, there are these deep lines, and that is done with a die. So that is where this envelope die comes in. And it actually puts little cut lines and design lines into your panel. So you have to make sure you put the die on the right way. Your small envelope is in the bottom corner, and there it is down here in the bottom corner. So you want to make sure you lay that on there. And then this die lines up with the lines that are on the panel in the back. So that's the outer stitching line that's there. That's what's lining up with the edge of this die. So I'm actually going to tape this into place because it can't shift when it goes through my die cutting machine. And that should line up perfectly with what is on the panel. So I have a couple pieces of tape here. I'm just going to attach that so that it doesn't shift or move while I run it through my machine. Okay, and I'm just going to do that off screen. I'll just run that through, and then I'll show you the panel again. Okie doke. So now we have the panel that's been run through, and I'm just going to remove the tape. Okay. The little piece here, the die actually cut through my tape. Okay, and now I'm going to remove that, and you can see how now there are all the little flaps that are cut into the panel as well. And so that gives it that really nice look that they are actual envelopes. Now, when you stick this down, you can actually put like pop dots underneath here and raise the flaps up if you want to. We're not going to do that for this particular one, but then your panel is ready. And I mean, you can see how much darker I inked up the one on my original versus the one I have now, but that's okay. That's the beauty of working with inks too. You can change up the shading by just pressing harder or lighter on your panel. Now I went ahead and cut out a card base, and also I cut out the postage collage die, postage stamp stacklets. This is from Tailored Expressions, so different company. But the nice thing is we've discovered that these panels fit beautifully right on top of this postage stamp stacklets die, and that gives you some like a mat that still goes along with your postage collage theme. So it just looks really nice put together. And then I'm going to pop up this panel here onto my card because I like to create a little bit of dimension when I'm crafting, and I either pop up these two panels together, like I would put the pop dots on the back of this, or I pop up the top panel. The reason I'm choosing to pop up this one is because it kind of creates a little bit of a shadow in behind these dots. And I like the way that that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and put some foam tape on the back of this panel. Now, because of the dots, you don't want your foam adhesive to overlap that because you'll see that. So you have to kind of cut some pieces here. But it doesn't take too long. And I'm not going to pop up the individual envelope flaps. So I'm just going to put foam adhesive over the entire back panel. That part's just going to lay flat. And I'm using the Altenew foam tape, which I love, by the way. The Scotch is also another great brand. I used that one too, but I used up that roll. So I opened up the Altenew one and I really like it. It's very tacky. There's nothing like a good tacky tape. Okay, and I'm just going to put a couple pieces in the center here because I don't like a saggy card either. Need one more small one. Okay, so now we have the panel all ready to go there. We're done with our ink tray, so I'm going to use it to hold my garbage. So we are expecting some rain this afternoon. And I hear somebody's out mowing their lawn. I think they're trying to get it done before the rain. And I am going to put my ferns out in the rain to give them a good water. Does anybody else do that? I figure rainwater is better than tap water, so I like to do that. Okay, I'm pulling this off screen just a little bit here so I can get this lined up. Because I need to get my head over top of things. But that makes that panel, and then that's going to go onto my card. And then we're going to work with our little tiny postage collage that we made earlier to finish off our card. Okay. I just want to make sure I put it on the right way. Okay, so that's perfect. Oops, I'm going to put this in ink, and I don't like that idea. Let's just clean this off. Now I won't ruin my card base. Okay, so I'm just going to put a magnet. Whoa, I've got a container that's tipping over here. There we go. I'm just going to put a magnet on here just to hold this down so that that sticks down there good. Okay, so now we're going to work on our little envelope here. So this envelope, so the set that I used for the envelopes is the Postage Collage Mini Seals die, and it also comes with a mini seal stamp. And I'm just looking at this. There's also little envelopes and little hearts and little butterflies in this set as well that you could use to stamp on your little postage collage. I clearly did not have this out when I was originally working on it because I noticed now that they have the cute little envelopes. So anyways, you can use that stamp. This is bundled together, but the larger envelope here is the one that I'm going to be using to put our mini postage collage in. And I've gone ahead and I've already cut that out. So I have it here. And I am going to just ink blend it just a little bit, just to set it off from the background a bit. And I'm going to use a light gray ink called Oyster. I like to use this one a lot. It is, it's a good one for just adding a touch of color. The other one I really like is Oat Milk. It's a little bit lighter still. So this one has a little bit of a darker texture to it. So not overly dark. And I'm just hitting the edges of the envelope. And again, against my white mat, you don't really notice it too much. But when you pick it up and put it against something else, it kind of shows up. So Deb just came in from the downpour. Yeah, we were just talking. I think it's just starting to rain here, so it's coming. Okay, so here is my envelope, and I'll just hold that up just so you can see just a little light gray around the outside edges. And I mean, it's very subtle, but it shows up nicely. And when you die cut this out, it does make this part open, so you can tuck things in there. Okay, so that is what we're going to do with our little postage collage. We're going to end up tucking that right into our little envelope. And I'm going to kind of put it on an angle. Now you want to be careful that it doesn't stick out the bottom of your envelope, so you don't want to push it down too far that you're starting to see it out down here. And then I'm just going to tack the back of that postage collage in place so that it doesn't move around. So just a little bit of glue in a couple of sections here. And then that's going to hold my little postage collage in place. So we're just going to push that open, and we're just going to tuck that in there. Okay, so just kind of like the tip of the envelope is still showing there. Okay, so that is how I put that in there. Now the next thing we're going to get ready are the little floral pieces, and those also come on this die set. It's one die, and it cuts out all the pieces. So I have them cut out here. So there's the little piece with the little dots on it. There's this large piece here. And then you get two with just the leaves. Ugh. So I've already inked up the two with the leaves, but I'm just going to show you quickly how I go about inking up these pieces. It's very fast and easy. I'm actually only going to use these two. I'm not going to use these other leafy pieces, but I did ink them up just in case I was going to use them, but I ended up not using them on my card. So we're not going to worry about those. So basically all I'm going to do is pull out my green brush from before and my orange, no, that one I might, I'm going to use my other brushes. So these are smaller die cuts, so I'm going to use the green, so Lucky Clover. I said I was done with this and I'm not. So Lucky Clover, and rather than get my mat all dirty, I'm just going to go in there. Okay, so now I'm just going to basically ink up the stems of these, just lightly brushing the ink on. They're kind of delicate pieces, so you don't want to push too hard. And I'm kind of going up into these little stems and leaving the little dots free of ink. Okay, so you can keep adding ink until you get to the color you want. And make sure you go all the way out to the end so it doesn't look like it was a white piece. And some of the areas will be a little darker than others, and that's okay because it kind of makes it look a little more realistic. So there's one piece, and then I'm going to do the leaves on this one. But I'm going to leave the flower kind of untouched because we're going to do that a different color. So you don't have to go in a circular motion. You can just kind of push down and like pull away, and that will apply color as well. Okay. Oops, I just have to do the bottom, although this probably won't show. All right, and then we're going to come in with yellow. And now remember, yellow is a dark color. Like, I'm not dark. A yellow is a juicy color. So I'm going to just go in with my brush at first and just see how much ink I have on there. Not much. Okay, and I'm going to do a little bit on this piece. And then I'm going to do, oh, those are going to be orange. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with my orange ink and my orange brush. And I'm just going to do these little tips to add some orange on there. And I mean, you could do a little shading with orange on here too, just to add up just a little bit. And then because I wanted a center on my flower, there's no way I'm doing that with a brush. So I just pulled out a Copic marker in orange, and I just added a little bit of orange that way. Depends how orange you want it to be. Let's just see. I'm going to try this one. So this is YR65, and I'm just going to add a little dot to the center, just to make it kind of look like a daisy or whatever. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do the flowers. And then they are just going to tuck into my envelope as well. So that the front part of that flap is still open, so we can just kind of set them in there. And again, I do it pretty loosely, like I don't put glue on the whole flower. I just put a little bit of glue on the stem at the bottom, and that's going to tuck in. Just kind of like that. And you can kind of move it around, put it where you want. And I see my stem is sticking out the bottom, but that's okay. I can trim that off. And then this one, I'm just going to layer it kind of over top. Why am I not using my tweezers? Okay, so now we're just going to tuck this one into that flap. And I'm just kind of overlapping it until I like the positioning of it. So basically, I'm just trying to keep those flowers visible. And then I'm just going to snip off that stem that's sticking out. Okay, and then I'm just going to quickly give my mat a spritz here because I do not want to get ink all over my stuff. Okay, so now we've got our little envelope. Now you'll notice that there is a little heart in the envelope that's gets popped out. I saved that. I don't like that the pattern is showing through there. So once I get this on my card, I'm actually going to reinsert that little heart. And it is fussy, but that's okay. We're going to put that kind of like right there. So now we're going to add some glue. I'm not going to pop this up. I'm leaving it flat. Okay, so we're just going to lay that kind of like that. And again, I'm just going to pop a magnet on there. And now this heart is itsy bitsy teeny weeny. So I'm going to definitely need my tweezers. And it is like the tiniest little heart. And I'm actually going to put the glue in the hole. And then I will reinsert the little heart. Just going to drop it in there. And then that just sort of fills that in. I just wanted it to be complete. Okay, so then I filled that in. Easy. And then I chose to use a sentiment from this set here. It's called Paper Hugs. And it's just got these great greetings that go along really well with the envelope thing. You know, sending hugs just because simply paper hugs. I loved the paper hugs, so I wanted to use that sentiment on here. So I went ahead and I I stamped out the paper hugs, and then I cut out 2 additional ones that I'm going to stack up. And that will give it a bit of dimension. And I like the way that looks over using pop dots, but you can do it either way. Okay, and we'll get the glue on this one. So I actually saw this tip somewhere, and I don't remember. I want to say maybe it was Kathy Zielski, but she said, and she saw somebody else do it, whoever it was. I think it was her. She said, just ink up all your die cuts at once, and then you stack it once, and then you stack it twice, and then you just line everything up at the same time. I think it was Kathy Zielski, but I don't know for sure. But I thought, well, duh. So there, I've got all of that stacked up, and that creates dimension on its own. And then that can just get placed right across there like that, which is going to work perfectly. So I'm just going to add some adhesive to that. And it's going to go straight across like so. And again, I'm just going to pop a couple of magnets on there just to hold that down. And then what I would do is just add a couple of clear drops in those 3 spots just to finish that off. But that is what your finished card is going to look like. So that's how I use the little mini postage collage on this card. Now the second one, I wanted to I wanted to cut it apart, which we did already. So here's all the little bits. And I loved the envelope theme, so I went with this style of card. And the envelope that I used for that is part of this same set. There's a smaller envelope. We used the larger one with the heart on the first card. This is the smaller one. And it's not really meant to fold shut, but I thought, who said you can't? So I cut 6 envelopes. Okay, and then what I'm actually going to do is just, there's like a cut line. I'm just going to fold that. And I'm going to use my bone folder. And I'm just going to crease it. And now it looks like an envelope flap. So it's not a true envelope, it's just the flap. But it worked for me. So I was like, oh, I like that. So I did that with all of the, all 6 of the envelopes. And again, because I'm going to be putting these on a white background, I wanted to ink the edges just a little bit with that oyster ink so that they'll pop a bit against the white background. So I'm just going to pull that over here. And again, I'm using the larger ink brush. I'm just hitting the edges here on the base. So this would be the front of the envelope. I'll just hold that up. Okay, so that's the front. And then the flap is going to fold down. So I'm going to actually do the back of the flap. And it just a tiny bit on the edges. And then I'm just going to put a little dab of glue. Oops, that's the wrong side. Yes, it is. So I'm just going to put a little dab of glue there. And I'm going to fold this over. And it's not going to matter that that glue's there because I'm going to put something there anyways. And then I'm just going to put a magnet there so it can sit while I do the next one. And this doesn't take long at all. Once you get your ink pad out, you just brush the edges. And you're not really getting much ink on it at all. It probably is going to look like a whole lot of nothing until you put it against your white background. And then you're going to be like, oh, wow, that makes a big difference. Because otherwise, I think the envelopes will just blend in and you won't really notice them. So I like... Oh, thank you. You like my mini slim? I love mini slim cards. They just give you just a touch of extra room lengthwise, and that works across as well. Oh, I just did the wrong side. It's okay, you won't see that. Yeah, so if you do ink the wrong side, no big deal, because you're not going to see it. Okay, and then we're just going to add that little dab of glue. And then fold it shut. Oops. And then this one's done. So we can just use that magnet. The glue doesn't take long to tack up. So you likely did this earlier, but could you please recap your Gina K run? I sure will, Carol. Yep. As soon as I get this part done, I will definitely go through that ink rainbow for you again. I think just, you know, put a thumbs up in the comments. How many of you love rainbow? I love rainbow. I think it looks really good on white with a touch of black. I think it just works so well for so many different themes. But everybody's different. Some people don't like bright colors, but and you can make soft rainbows too. You don't have to make vibrant ones. You can definitely play around with your colors. Oops, that got a little heavy, but that's all right. And make, you know, different variations of the rainbow blend. But I love it. I use it a lot, in case you didn't notice. I do love a very nice rainbow blend. And who doesn't like to receive a bright, cheery card? I know it doesn't always apply, but... Okay, so there we go. And now we'll just put that on there. So now we have all these adorable little envelopes. Now I know that we don't have very many of these products in stock because, wow, have we been hit. But I have got an order in the truck coming to my house right now with my husband. And then we've got another one on its way. So there are a couple of shipments of all of this stuff being restocked. So definitely put these in your notebook and you will be able to pick them up. Or you can let us know and we will email you. So either way. So the gray I'm using is Tailored Expressions Oyster. So if you want to make a note of that. And my rainbow colors are Gina K Passionate Pink, Gina K Tangerine Twist, and then we used Wild Dandelion. We used Lucky Clover, Turquoise Sea, and the Wild Lilac. So those are the colors that we used today. And if you go onto our inspiration group, Christina used this rainbow blend on some of her cards. I don't remember which ones they were. But anyway, she used that rainbow blend. So I already had it out on my desk, and that's why I continued to use it, but it's nice. But all of the ink companies definitely have a blend you can work with. Okay, so we're now just going to stick one of these little postage stamps that we made onto each one of the envelopes. Okay, so we're just going to simply pop it on. Some are going to be a little bigger than others. That doesn't matter. And then they are going to look great. This is going to add our little pop of color on each envelope. Of course, that's upside down. And I can use my magnets again to hold this in place, but I'm just putting a little dab of glue, and then just make sure your little envelope is straight, and it will tack up pretty quick. Like, look how cute this little one is. Oh my gosh. And even if you're a scrapbooker, all these little pieces that you cut out are just basically like ephemera. So you can mix and match them and add them in little spots on your layouts when you're doing your little clusters and your collaging, to be able to tuck all these little things inside and to be able to personalize them with stamps that you already have. Is just so fun. The newest release for Waffle Flower, you guys haven't seen it yet. Oh my, I ordered a lot. But it is so cool. And I mean, I'm ordering it for card making, but I'm also ordering it for scrapbooking because it's going to work for a travel album that I want to do. And yeah, I just know I'm going to get lots of use out of it. So you've got that to look forward to as well. It just never ends. So now we've got all these little envelopes that have little postage stamps on them. And I'm putting them on the back flap. But you could do little postage stamps on the front too, like if you want to use the front of the envelope. But I just thought they looked really sweet like that. Okay, so now, again, I was using that gray ink. I want to make sure I don't have any on my surface here. But I'm going to pull in the panel I used. So I cut a mini slim base. So when you cut a mini slim card, you're going to cut your paper to measure 6 inches by 7 inches. And then you're going to cut, score it in half at 3.5 inches. And that gives you the standard mini slim size. The cardstock for my base is just the same size as the front. So it's going to be 3.5 by 6. And then this layering piece here is from Tailored Expressions. They have a mini slim set. This is the petite scalloped mini slim. And then there's also a stitched one that fits on top of this too. So wow, it's so fun. You're hoping we're going to show some magic with Waffle Flower sewing. Yeah, so we sold through a lot of the sewing stuff immediately. I did reorder. Sometimes we don't work with everything. But I will say, Carol, there is a lot of inspiration on the Waffle Flower website. So if you go there and click on the product and then scroll down a little bit, there's tons of inspiration there too. So you don't have to wait for us. We might work with some of it. But there's just collections coming down the pipe all the time. And unfortunately, we cannot work with everything. Like it just, it's impossible. Like we would have to craft 24/7, which does sound fun, but it's not realistic. So we do try to keep up with everything, and the sewing stuff is selling very fast. We're out of a number of things already, but like I said, I reordered. Some of the things are on a pre-order, so they won't ship and to me until they come back in stock. So it's definitely, we're definitely chasing it a little bit, but it's because Waffle Flower is sold out of a few things too. And if any of you were asking about the Postage Collage block stencil for the A2 size, that is also out of stock at Waffle Flower right now. So we're waiting for them to restock. They have like June 6th as their restock date. And then of course it takes time to ship to us. So it's going to be like mid to late June before we see it. But if you are interested in having your name on the list for that. Carol says, yes, plenty on the waffle flour. You always have something a little extra special. Well, thank you. We do try. We do try. Okay. So while this is kind of drying, let's move that up out of the way. Ugh. I'm going to work on our panel. Okay. So a couple of things here. I kind of envisioned these little envelopes going down, and I put them kind of in rainbow order when I put mine on here. So the stamps might be slightly different, but I just kind of organized them in rainbow order, but you can do whatever you like. So there's just going to kind of get these in place. Like that is how they're going to end up going. And then I wanted to put my greeting on the side here. So I dug out, actually I didn't even dig it out. When I made the card, I already had this happy made up, and it was in a little bin that I keep my sentiments in that I've already got done. So I used it, and then I was scrambling when I was going to do the live because I was thinking, what did I even use? So this is an old set from My Favorite Things, so we can't get it anymore. So you'll have to crash your stash and find something that you can do happy with. So even if you have an alphabet set, you could spell out the word happy. Maybe you have another die that says happy or whatever, but that's what I did. This is the die. It's called Happy Words and Happy Everything. We bundled it together. So you might already have it. It's been out for a while. We ordered it lots. So if you have it, you can use it. If you don't, you'll have to kind of improvise. But it comes with like a shadow and then the letters to layer on top. So here's my shadow. And then I die cut out the individual letters that I have to glue on here. So we'll go fast. But if you have an alphabet set, you could always spell the word happy. You just have to find something that would kind of fit in the right size. So I actually have cut out the black happy letters twice. I'm not going to painfully make you watch me do it, but I would layer them twice, and that would give it a little bit of dimension on the top, which I really like. But I will go back after and add them in because I can do that even after my card is completed. Because I did cut them out, but it is a little bit painful to watch. So I'm not going to make you do it. You have to watch me do it once, not twice. So I do like this set because you can layer it, but it doesn't have to be an exact replica. Mary says she's late. Well, where the heck were you? You're never late. You can always watch the beginning on replay again. We're making our second card using the Mini Postage Collage set that we gave away on the weekend. And it is so fun to play with. So it's just a small part of my cards, but I just think it makes all the little accents look extra cute. Okay. And I don't make all these samples myself. I actually make very few cards. Christina and Amanda make the bulk of our cards. And man, the girls have really come out with some great stuff lately. Like, so good. Okay, so Happy's going to go kind of along there. And then we're going to put the word birthday here, and we're going to put a little something underneath. So I'm actually going to stick my Happy on. I know, that sounds crazy, right? And I am going to pop it up. Because I didn't have an extra layer on there, but I might. Should I pop it up? Because I'm going to put extra dimension on the top of this. I might not have to. I'll just pop it up. No, I'm not going to pop it up. I'm going to add the extra dimension afterwards. So we're going to lay this flat. I'm going to add my dimension with my extra row of letters afterwards. Okay, and I'm just winging it, guys. So I'm leaving enough room there for the word birthday, making sure this is pretty straight. Okay, now, as far as the birthday goes, I have no idea what I used for this. Again, I was just crafting. I didn't really pay attention, but what I did do is I pulled out something very similar, and it is the Henry's Build a Sentiment Spring. If you have not used these Henry's Build a Sentiment sets, you are missing out. There's a new release coming in June, and they have a birthday version of this, but there are a few birthday things in here, but it is spectacular. The number of things that you can custom make for sentiments is crazy. So this includes things like happy birthday. It has wedding in it. It has mothers and fathers. So you can do Mother's and Father's Day. There's bridal stuff. So for showers, there's baby things, St. Patrick's, there's Easter. They even have adoption in this, anniversary, congrats, things like happiness, happily ever after. So you could do anniversary cards as well. Tons and tons of options, and you can mix and match these however you want. So I'm actually going to steal the birthday word, because that's the easiest part first. Now this one's a little bit smaller than the one I used there, but it will work great. So what I'm going to do is pull out my Misty, and we are going to line that up and stamp it on. Now I have a sticky mat in here, so I'm just going to stick my panel down. And I'm going to put my birthday stamp right here. And again, we want to make sure that that is straight. I'm going to use the grid lines on the lid of my Misty to make sure that it is, and I can see that it is. So we are just going to ink that up and stamp that part down. And again, I don't want to put too much pressure on here, just enough to get the birthday to stamp. So there we go. We have got happy birthday. And then below that, I'm going to make up my own saying. So on my original card, I said, have an amazing day. But on here, what can we do? Wishing you happiness. That's what I'm going to do. So wishing you and happiness are two separate stamps. Okay, so I'm going to just pull those out. Now, I'm just going to put them kind of where I think they should be. I'm not going to get too crazy. I mean, I'm more looking at positioning. I can fuss with this a bit afterwards. I want to make sure that they're kind of centered underneath the word happy. And always go higher than you think you need to go, because you don't want it to be too spaced out. Okay, I'm pretty good with that. So what I'm going to do is just get rid of this birthday. And now I'm just going to take the grid on here, and I'm going to make sure that I have them positioned straight, and I can line them up better. See, I've removed it, but I know that they're going to line up next to each other well, but it's easier to stick them together on the lid of your Misty than it is on your paper, because they don't move around then. I can just kind of test that. I'm going uphill a little bit. Now this one, I'm going to do a little test before I actually stamp. Just because I want to make sure I'm not going to ruin my card. And all I'm going to do is take one of my layering guides. Here's one here. Okay, I'm just going to put this in position. So it's like a gridded piece of acetate. Well, it's not actually acetate. You know what? I don't like how that's working. I'm going to stick it to this. And it'll stick a little bit easier onto this as well. Okay. I think that looks good. I'm going to pick it up. Now we're going to do a test stamp. So I'm going to ink up this. And I'm going to stamp it on this guide. And now I can kind of see how that's going to look. And I can even take one of my envelopes and make sure that I have enough space. It's going to look perfect. So now I can remove this. And now I'm actually going to stamp right on my card. So the layering guides are super, super helpful. And I love that I can customize my greetings with these stamps. So if you have not looked into these, I don't even know what we have in stock right now, but I know we have a new one coming. Look at how perfect that is. So it says, wishing you happiness, happy birthday. So I love how that is. And it's very close to the font that I used with my other stamp set, but I don't even know what I used. But it worked out pretty good. And then to clean off the layering guide, I just take a little bit of alcohol spray, just give it a little bloop, and it just comes right off. And then I can just stash that away, and it's good to go. And then we'll just use our chamois to clean off our stamp. And I'm not doing any more stamping in here, so I don't need to worry about cleaning that up right now. Let me just take that off, and we are set. So now it's just a matter of putting on our envelopes. And again, I kind of had them in rainbow order here. Yellow, orange. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with the first one. It's going to be flat against the back, and then the next one I'm going to pop up. Okay, so where's my tweezers? Up here. So I'm going to put some adhesive on the back here. So this is going to allow me to wiggle it around a little bit. It's definitely raining here now. Okay, so I'm going to kind of, and they don't have to be straight. I'm not going for a straight look. Kind of want them to be a little bit wonky. And now I'm going to use the next one, and I'm going to use a little bit of foam tape. So it kind of gives them like an up and down kind of dimension. No, orange is the one I want. Which one is this? Yellow. Okay, so orange next. And again, we're just going to position this so that we can still see the little stamps. Okay. And then next we're going to have the yellow one, and that's going to go right against the card. So it's going to be flat. And I am going to kind of tuck it underneath. Like so. And then next up, we're going to put a little foam. Again, I'm just going to kind of stagger that a bit. A bit of glue. And one more foam dot. And if you find that you need to come down a little bit more, just put this one on a bit more of an angle. You don't have to be perfect. Perfecto. See? That top one's leaning a bit, but that's okay. And then, to finish off the card, we're just going to attach this to our card base. And see how that nice blue background is going to show through, which I also really like. A little pop of color. You could add black if you want, but I thought that with the black lettering, that was my pop of black. I was good with having the color in behind. And it kind of ties in the same coloring as the other card that I made. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this on here and then just wiggle it into place. And then I'm just going to put a couple of magnets on there just to tack that up. Now, the last little detail that I did was I found these 3 little hearts. Now, these 3 little hearts came to my attention because I had done a live earlier, and I had shown a stamp set that Amanda had done, and I fell in love with this set and the cards that she made. So it was the Missing Your Hug set. It's a stamp and die combo, but the dies have these really cool heart dies in them. And some of them are outline dies. So this is just a straight heart die. I'll hold this up so you can kind of see. So you see one cutting blade on there. So it just cuts out a solid heart, which is fun. But then there are other hearts. There's one inside here. This one's a little bigger so I can show you. Maybe this one's a little bigger so you can see it better. This one has a double cut line. I'm waiting for my iPad to catch up so you can see. See the double cut line? So that's going to give you an outlined heart. And that looks like this. See how that looks? I love that. I could have put solid hearts on and it would have worked great, but I do love the little outlined heart. And they come in a bunch of different sizes. So I decided to cut out 3 different colors. I did the teal, the pink, and the green. And then I just put them right at the base of my, my word happy. Just for a little something. Another little embellishment. And I mean, I could put 2 down there and 1 up here. Like you could kind of play around with it. I ended up doing the 3 hearts like this, which I thought worked really well. But they are very dainty. And like I said, they come in different sizes. So not only are the sentiments super cool in that one, but the hearts are extra fun too. And I love taking a set like that, like on this card, and using like a bunch of different little things from different companies and different sets, mixing and matching all the pieces. And it's fun to bring in old things and new things. So I'm just getting these little hearts in place. And then the last little step would be to put on your gems. And I will hold up the original card so you can see exactly where I put them. Okay. Okay, so now we've got the little hearts along the bottom, which look amazing. And here's the original card. And I just added a little drop on the 3 envelopes to finish it off. And that is it. So I'm just going to pull in the other card so you can see the finished versions of them again. And that just shows you the 2 different ways to use the little mini postage die and stencil. So as a solid piece or as a cut up piece. Either way works. Okay, so I think that's it. So I hope I inspired you and gave you some ideas on how you can use that die that you picked up. And if you didn't pick it up, then don't stress, because when I put my order in on the weekend, I was able to order more. So we will have them up for sale. It'll be a few weeks before they're in stock, but they will be around. And again, any other products that we used in the live that are not showing in stock now, they have all been reordered. So over the next few weeks, they will pop into the store again. So you can email us and ask to be on the notify list, or you can make a note in your notebook and just keep an eye on things. And when they come back in stock, you can snag them. Okay, so I'm going to sign off and then get myself organized, and I'm heading into the store. So I might see some of you later, and if not, I will see you next time I do the live. Have a great day.